What's up, y'all? Respect the Chat podcast is back. Episode 113. Ryan's over there in Pittsburgh getting hydrated.
Oh
You
yeah,
can't can they see you? Are we still
they can
doing the
see you. We're
YouTube?
still on
Okay, cool.
YouTube.
Even better. Even
We're
better.
still on
Even,
YouTube.
even better. My man's getting hydrated over there. I'm gonna be getting hydrated as well. 113. I missed 112, man. But you and the fellas held it down. What'd you think? How'd it feel hosting?
It was good. I mean, I if it's definitely a lot. You got to keep the
Mm,
conversation going, especially with. I mean, they did a really good job, Serb and Steve, but especially with two people who don't, it's not something they normally do. You got to
mhm.
like introduce the next topic so it's not just either dead air or you're speaking in circles about the same thing over and over again because it was good because it felt like a normal conversation, but then it starts to become like, dang, I just spent 45 minutes talking about the same thing in circles without no one even knows what we're talking about anymore. So it
That's
was
the
good.
thing, man. People all the time, and I did it too before I had the podcast. And like I said, 113 episode, man. I love the fact that Frankie, Rich, I, and you do this. Like
Hmm.
this is. I look forward to this every week. It was something I always wanted to do, but in the beginning, man, we were like, it was shaky, like, oh, I could do a podcast, you say to yourself.
Hmm.
But once the microphone goes on and you start thinking about that people are gonna hear this,
Yeah.
some people are going to see it on YouTube, but I'm not even worried about that. It's like people are going to hear what I'm saying. So you start to think about what your answers are. And that's where I feel like sometimes you mess up a little bit. You don't need to
Right.
think too much about it. You just kind of want to have an idea about what's kind of going on.
Hmm.
The thing about this is that people don't understand about this podcast is that we don't have another person putting an agenda for us. These
Right.
agendas are being put together by in between work and what I'm hearing in the morning, in the afternoon when I get back, what's happening in sports. Then I'm writing those things down. I'm getting questions from Sports Center and Get Up and all these different podcasts that I listen to, which I want, by the way, shout out. I Am Athlete Podcast. If people are not subscribed to it or don't know about it, I Am Athlete Podcast is Brandon Marshall, Fred Jackson, Jameson, I'm sorry, not Jameson, Channing Crowder, Chad Ochocinco's on sometimes. Those are the main guys, though. So I Am Athlete Podcast, great. It's even on YouTube, too. You check it out. They have great guests. They keep it so real about sports, on the field, off the field,
Hmm.
lifestyle stuff, people investing and these players becoming like, successful businessmen. They have women on who, have empowered themselves and made a step, you know, that like people never thought women could make, man. And it's just awesome. They celebrate people, they celebrate human beings. It's a great, great podcast. And also DC and Hawani, I get all my questions from them about, the UFC and stuff
There
like
we
that.
go.
But definitely, man, I'm proud of you guys. I'm happy what you guys did. I know you're gonna be doing it more, but I will be joining, man. It was hard
Oh
for me
yeah.
to step out. I have missed episodes before. Um, that was one I wanted to make, but I've missed episodes before, and Pat and Frankie and Rich held it down. But
Oh okay.
I'm not trying to miss no more episodes, man. If you
Nah.
could hear, I sound even clearer out
There we
there,
go.
y'all, because my boy Ryan hooked me up with a microphone,
There we
and I
go.
am in business. I got the all black everything microphone, so
Perfect. Now it's the real
you know,
deal. We're the
yes,
real
yes.
deal out here. So, oh,
Here
bless
we
your
go, man.
ears.
Here we go. So we got a couple of topics. We got UFC. We got some NFL free agency's been going crazy. We got basketball, college, and
Hmm.
NBA, and maybe a little fantasy will splash in. We don't know. You know how we do at the RDC. We just go in. Shout out, by the way, to all my Valley View crew. Yo, these are the cats I went
Oh,
to college with. My brothers for life, man. I should really shout them all out. You know what I'm saying? But like, maybe you think I should give them a shout out? Try to get
yeah.
them
Why
all out there.
not?
My boy Mabel, Lucci, Stud, Fire Flames. No real names, and they'll know who they are. T-Bone, Big Face Hunteds, my boy Big A, of course, and Witsy, the unfound member. Witsy, man, it's like he's went over to Hawaii. Hopefully, he could listen to us at some point out
There we
there.
go.
I hope I got everyone. My boy Buck, of course, he is the man. Not a Valley View guy, but a Washington Street G, as we used to call ourselves back in the
Hmm.
day. So shout out to all my boys listening to us
Shout
now.
them
I know
out.
they subscribe to us, man. I really appreciate that.
There we
And
go.
hopefully I didn't forget nobody because they'll be getting at me. But
You'll know
NFL
if you
free
forgot
agencies,
somebody.
oh, without a doubt. NFL free agency is so hot right now, but I want to start with the UFC.
Okay.
Last weekend, Kevin Holland versus Derek Brunson, a middleweight bout, one that I anticipated and we talked about in previous episodes. and turned out to be a dud, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand really what Kevin Holland was thinking, but why go in there and not take advantage of an opportunity that if you win, maybe you fight Adesanya because you've been talking about it nonstop that you
Mm-hmm.
want to get at this guy. And if you, God forbid, went in there in that performance, he would have knocked you out 7 times.
Yeah.
Not a good look. What do you make of Kevin Holland versus Derek Brunson? And what do you make of Kevin Holland, altogether?
I really don't know. Just watching the fight, I couldn't tell if he just didn't care or if the fight just wasn't going the way he thought it was, or something. But he just started, instead of biting down the mouthpiece like most people do, he just started being his antic self. It's like he couldn't. He seems like the type of person where he couldn't take something seriously if he tried, And not to say that he's not serious about fighting, but when it gets in like those tough situations, those deep water situations where you gotta just, like I said, bite down the mouthpiece and fight back. Darren Brunson is no joke. He's not playing those games with you. He's
No.
fighting to win. He wants to fight for the belt. He's not gonna sit there and jaw with you or sit there and, laugh at your antics and then you catch him off guard. It's not going to work with guys like that. And the higher you go up, the higher you want to climb, the less it's going to work and the more skilled guys are going to be. Derek Brunson just looked like, he knew exactly how to beat this guy. He just took him down, used his wrestling, used his strength. And Kevin Holland's just so unorthodox. He's just throwing crazy punches and crazy kicks and trying to catch him slipping. And he almost had him for a second. In one of the, middle rounds where Brunson was slipping, but he went right back to the wrestling, grabbed him, brought him back down, controlled the fight, and I don't know. Like you said, if this was anyone else, he probably would have been out cold. No one. Now he's laughing when he he's laughing when he gets back to reality. But I don't know. What do you think about that?
The thing about it is like I get that this guy's whole persona is built on, being loose and talking and getting people frustrated. I get that, but here's the thing. When you're in a fight and you just lost the first round, the guy's taking you down and you're in your corner and you're laughing and you're talking to Habib, who's watching the fight, and you're not taking any advice from any of your coaches. What are you really doing? Okay, you come out the first round and no advice. Second round, same thing. Third round, he went 5 rounds. He didn't get any advice because he was talking too much, because he wasn't taking it, I feel like, seriously. And how do you not take this fight, main event, dead serious, that if you win, you put yourself into a title shot? I heard him say before the fight that he doesn't even want to fight a 5-round fight ever again. He wants to go back to fighting on the undercard. Well, guess what, Kevin Holland? The champions don't fight on co-main events, and champions don't fight 3-round fights. That's what's, I don't think he's built for it yet. I really don't. My persona, my thought about him, his persona and my thought about him leading into this fight was, man, this guy is on fire. 5-fight win streak, lit 2020 up, fought every single weekend almost. And then you come into a big time fight against a guy. If you beat him, you put yourself in a real conversation against the champ and you don't take it seriously.
Yeah.
It's one thing that not being able to be not having takedown defense. That's one thing that you didn't drill during your training camp that you had plenty of time for. Okay, whatever. But guess what? You needed to fight a better fight. Take it seriously. Figure it out, man. Don't just be taken down every round and then say, well, you're laughing and, you're like, oh, I'm sorry I let people down. That's what he was saying. That's what DC and Hawani was saying today on their podcast. Like, he's calling them up and he's letting people know, like, sorry I let you down. You didn't let anybody down. You let yourself down, G. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Come on, Kevin Holland. Take this seriously.
Yeah, and
and congratulations, Derek Brunson, man.
Exactly. And it just felt like Derek Brunson wanted to fight for the belt at some point.
Yeah.
So he was taking this fight seriously. Main event. When do you if you have your name, if your name is on the card and they're advertising, oh, Holland Brunson, your name is on that card, doesn't, reality start to set in a little bit that you're right there. If you have dreams to chase like a belt or any sort of championship or any sort of title fight, and you get your name on a any sort of event, fight night, co-main event, whatever it is, your name's up there in the advertising. you have some pull. If you win this next fight, you could really, start making moves and make your title run legitimate. But
Yeah.
like you said, I just don't think he's built for it yet. If he needs to, I don't think he needs to change his personality or who he is. That's who he is, and you're never going to change that about somebody. But when it comes to really being serious and wanting to be a champion, if that's something he actually wants, and if he doesn't, that's fine. If he wants to go back to fighting on the undercard, then all right, go knock out some bums and fight on the undercard, and no one will care about you. But if you really want to be in the UFC and fight and make money and headline these big events, then you need to start taking some stuff seriously and taking advice from your corner and mix in your antics where it's appropriate, not when you're getting dominated in a fight by a guy who you goofed around with the entire weigh-ins and stuff, trying to make him look silly, and he just isn't taking you seriously. And then he comes out and dominates you. It's you who looks silly at the end of the day,
Oh yeah. Boring fight, but I'm happy for Derek Brunson. I'm happy he won. He did what he needed to do. I don't know if the moment was too big for Holland. I don't know if Holland is just okay with being a mediocre fighter who wants to make some money, get some bonuses, but never fight for a chip. But I'm telling you right now, the champions are built different. If you're a champion, you're built different. And DC said that Kevin Holland's going to be coming out to San Jose, to AKA where DC trained for years. Habib trained for years. Legendary camp over there. Javier Mendez is the head coach. He's going to go over there for a little bit out of his next camp, and he's going to wrestle. And he's going to wrestle some of those guys that are the best guys really in the game. They got former D1 wrestlers there. They got Russian guys over there who could wrestle with the best of them in the world. So hopefully Kevin Holland makes a change and does something, big, coming back and looks different. But Derek Brunson, man, congratulations. Then we got Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler.
Ooh.
News drop that is for the lightweight. What is it? Lightweight title?
Yeah.
Let's get that a little mixed up.
Habib's belt.
Yeah, Habib has officially retired. He said he retired 5 months ago, but nobody else wanted to believe him. But now this time he vacated. It's vacated. Finally, we got an answer. I honestly think, I said this in a previous podcast, the only way he was coming back is if Conor McGregor knocked out cold Dustin Poirier, and Khabib was like, all right, I'll give you a second shot. It's the only way he was coming back, because it was one which you don't care about, a ton of money, but so much that he couldn't turn down. But it was also to knock this, to submit this guy again, or to beat him again, and say, okay, now I did it twice. And I got my 30-0. I'm officially out.
Yeah.
But he vacates the title. So what do you think? Michael Chandler, Charles Oliveira, do you like this? Do you think it should have been somebody else?
I think it should have been someone else. I mean, these guys are right there. I think they're up there with the best, with the best of that division, and it's a very deep division, as we always say. And so I guess I'm not terribly mad at it. I think that Michael Chandler put on a really, really good performance. Charles Oliveira put on an insane performance against Tony Ferguson. So they're both coming off really hot performances. And it's good, they like to make events. They like to give other people chances where instead of making, Dustin Conor 3 for the belt, you set up some other storylines where maybe Michael Chandler wins the belt and he's a champion in Bellator and a champion in UFC, or Oliveira on a hot streak comes and wins the belt and now someone has to take it from him. It just sets up, I think it sets up more stuff, but I do think there's a lot of guys that got overlooked for that title fight that have been just waiting for Habib to vacate it, because they knew, they would challenge him obviously if they got the chance, but it's like you come to a certain realization that it's like, man, this dude is tough. I'm sure Justin Gaethje came to that realization quick as soon as he got in there with him. But I don't know. I'm interested to see how it plays out. Their styles. I haven't seen a ton of Michael Chandler's ground game. I don't know what it's like. But I the way I saw Charles Oliveira dominate someone like Tony Ferguson on the ground was absolutely insane. So I'm excited for the fight. I'm interested to see, what things look like leading up to it, what the talk is about training, who's doing what. I feel like whenever we watch those things and hear those sort of stories, like, oh, this guy's going over here to train, he's working on this part of his game. It's like, oh, you get more hype for it. You're like, all right, this will be a fight. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I honestly thought about it like this. I was talking to my boy Chris Brown this weekend, and saying the reason why I think it's Oliveira versus Chandler is because I think they need two fresh guys in there that haven't fought much of the other competition. So if one of those guys, obviously one of those guys win the belt, Oliveira versus Dustin never happened. It's intriguing. Oliveira versus Connor never happened. Interesting. Oliveira versus Gaethje never happened. Same with Chandler. Chandler has never fought these guys yet. So this is something, a new champ taking on challengers, not Dustin Poirier, because really, let's be honest, he should have been the guy if it was vacated that they hand him the belt. He chose the money fight instead, so I think he's okay with that. But if Dustin gets it, then what do? You do Dustin Connor again, that for the belt? You do Dustin Gaethje, that for the belt? They fought already. What do you really do? So I think they did this to freshen things up, to spunk things up. One legend retired, and let's just start fresh with a new guy, and let's see what this division becomes. Let those other guys, those veterans, come up and challenge for it, but let's let Oliveira and Chandler separate themselves so that we can kind of get those guys out of the way. Because I think it would have been tricky. Where do you fit Oliveira and Chandler? If you make Dustin the champ, you make him fight Oliveira or Chandler. I think it would have been okay if he would have fought Oliveira. I think that would have worked out and people would have been cool. But I like this fresh start. It makes it interesting. I'll tell you this much about Michael Chandler. His ground game is a serious, ground and pound. Elbows, big strikes. He's in your guard. He's a big time decorated wrestler. He knows what he's doing. His takedown defense is going to be more important, I think, than when he's down there, because Oliveira is, next level. I believe when you get to the ground, yes, decorated wrestlers, man, they are number one down there. If you got a guy, he could scramble and get out of anything, but it's different. It's MMA wrestling. It's MMA jiu-jitsu, so it's going to be interesting what Oliveira does. If there's anybody that could do it, to decorated wrestler, get out of it and get up. I don't think Oliveira really wants to stay on his feet after he's seen what Chandler did to Hooker. But I like Oliveira standing on the feet too. I like this fight.
Yeah.
It's making me like it more. I'm not mad at it. I don't know where it leaves Gaethje. I really don't. I would have, if it was something different, I would have liked to see Gaethje versus one of these two for the vacant belt, and then work one of those other guys in there. But I think it was nobody wanted to fight Oliveira and nobody wanted to fight Chandler. They wanted big money fights, or Gaethje was like, nah, I'm not fighting one of those two guys. So the UFC was like, all right, we'll just make them fight each other for the vacant belt, and then you'll have to fight them.
Yeah.
We'll force your hand.
I think that might be it more than anything, because I agree with you. I was saying that that sort of mixes it up when you're having these two guys fight each other, because I like your point where regardless of who wins, we haven't seen, any of those fights before. But I think you're right, because let's say someone like Gaethje or someone like Dustin or Connor takes a Chandler fight or a Oliveira fight. All that does for them is drop them in, out of title contention if they lose.
Yep.
So if you fight someone like Oliveira or someone like Chandler and you lose to one of those two guys, now they're the new guy who just jumped you again. Now you're losing more spots. So it's like, at least if you're like in Gaethje's mind, right? If I were to guess what he's thinking, if you're losing to someone like Dustin or someone like Connor, right? These are guys that people know already to be top contenders. Where, all right, I lost to them, but I'm still in and around the top guys. Yeah, I lost to another top guy. If you lose to someone like Oliveira or like Chandler, who is just getting started in the UFC, not a lot of people know how great of a fighter he actually is. You just feel like you get jumped. He like, oh, another contender is about to jump, and now you're just dropping, just like what Dan Hooker's feeling like. He lost two straight after going on a hot streak, and now it's like, dang, now I got to go back to fighting on fight nights and undercards to get my name back in there. But no, I'm okay with it. The more we talk about it, the like I said, the more hype that builds once it actually comes around. I'm sure it's going to look even better. So I'm excited for it.
Oh, without a doubt. And then this weekend we got Stipe Miocic, the heavyweight champ, versus Francis Ngannou 2. Second time Stipe won the first one. I seen what was it? UFC Countdown. Um, Francis was going through some stuff, it seemed like, which I didn't really know leading up to that. You know, a lot of the media he wasn't used to, wasn't really training like the way he wanted to, consistently jumping around from like country to country almost.
Wow.
So let's give him an excuse. And I know he is not using his that, but let's give him an excuse and let's say he wasn't ready for it. I think this one he will be ready for. Stipe will definitely be ready for it. That's UFC 260. Tyron Woodley versus Vicente Luque is the co-main event because Volkanovski versus Ortega, that's what it was gonna be. Due to COVID, will not happen. So that's tough. That backs up everything in the featherweight division. And then you also got Sean O'Malley versus Thomas Almeida. I mean, it was just a bonus getting another championship fight with Volkanovski and Ortega. They're out, but I'll take Woodley and Luque and O'Malley and Almeida definitely. Yeah. Great card this weekend. But what do you think? Just quick prediction: Stipe or Francis in the second one?
Ooh, I mean, I'm gonna go with Francis in this one. I think he's ready this time. I think that what you were saying is very true, that I didn't know about all that other stuff going on, but it makes sense. I feel like he's ready. I feel like it's gonna be a test of how dominant he could be, because Stipe is obviously no joke. He's very well rounded. He's a great striker, and Francis is gonna have to come into this fight not thinking he could just have his way, and I'm pretty sure he knows that. He's fought him already. His last fight, he just goes charging with his whirlwind haymakers and knocks the dude out cold. Biggie boy, Jazzy Rosenstrike. It wasn't even, those two didn't even belong in the octagon together. It just, Francis was on a whole nother level when they made that fight. But I'm gonna go with Francis. I'm gonna go on a limb and think, we get a new heavyweight champ, and I think that it'll be a good opportunity to make another series like they had, like Cormier and Miocic had. You got one, Stipe wins. If Francis wins two, oh, here we go.
Nice, got it mid episode. That's Beautiful. What you needed.
Oh, thank you. Wait, is this blended together too, or did it just melt?
It's blended.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Go. Mid episode, bro.
Perfect for all you guys.
Cannot beat it.
Yeah, for all y'all out there who don't see it on YouTube, just got
give this company a little love. I mean, we don't get paid by nobody, but might as well. Maybe they'll listen.
Shout out to my people over here in Pittsburgh, the Milkshake Factory.
Let's go.
They do it right. They do it right over there.
What'd you go with there? Let the people know.
Got a Hank's root beer float.
Ooh.
Vanilla ice cream, a nice cold root beer. Ooh, this was perfect. I needed this.
All right. That is fire right there. Fire right there.
What was I saying?
You were saying Francis is ready for this one, and you were saying that it's going to have a nice it's going to have like the legacy, attached to it.
Oh, yeah.
So so you're saying if Francis wins this one, they're going to run it back again?
They have to make 3.
What do they do with Bones? But later on, or next has got to be Bones, right? Whoever wins this got to fight John Jones.
Right. Depending what Stipe does, depending how he feels, and if it's a dominant fight by Francis, or if it's some sort
first
of
round knockout or something.
Right. Or if it's some sort of fluke that happens, it'll feel like you either like let's say something like the unfortunate Aljamain Sterling versus Petr Yan, something like that happens, or just something weird that it's like, oh, you get left with a bad taste in your mouth. It almost feels like you got to run it back as soon as possible, as long as guys are healthy. But if it goes like a regular fight and there's a clear winner, I definitely agree. John Jones should fight the winner, and then so let's say it's Stipe. We don't even have to, there's not even a conversation. Francis got 2 shots. Now he's got to get back in line. But if it's Francis, I think, John Jones gets a shot. And if Francis wins, and even if he doesn't win, you run Stipe Francis 3 just as a pay-per-view or like a main event in some other card. But I'm getting ahead of myself now. But
I like it though
Yeah,
because it makes me think about what that heavyweight division could be. You know,
right.
Francis, Stipe, John Jones in there. You know, there's other guys coming up in the
That
UFC in
new
that
guy,
division.
the French dude, looks like he's getting ready. Gone, Sierra Gone from, I think he's
Yeah,
French.
yes,
Looks like he's
yes.
getting ready, to put some people on notice.
Who's that big dude, Volkanov? Did he come up
Oh,
from?
Alexander Volkov.
Oh my
Oh, he's
gosh, he
got
looked
hands.
dangerous. He came up from light heavyweight man to heavyweight, and
Oh
he
yeah.
looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
Tua Tagovailoa, is that
Yep.
his name? Just won this.
Tai Tuivasa.
Tai Tuivasa, I don't know what I said, but that dude got a nice knockout,
Mm-hmm.
last weekend or so. So we're definitely forgetting a couple other
Yeah.
guys who were in there, but man, the heavyweight division looks
Derek.
good.
I'm sorry.
Derek Lewis.
Derek Lewis with a
Oh
big win
yeah,
over Curtis Blades.
yes, yes. There's many, many more, and I'm gonna try to record again. We'll try to record again maybe Saturday or so.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how it goes. Try to get Rich on. Try to talk about the fights a little bit more. I know
Yeah.
he'd be interested in all of these, especially Woodley versus Vicente Luque. Rich was really like that one as well. But I got Stipe in the second one.
Okay.
And I'll give you more on why when we record again. But I just think Stipe's one of the greatest heavyweights ever, and
Mm-hmm.
he's gonna use his wrestling early, and then he's gonna smash him up on the feet a little bit,
Okay.
and take him out. NFL free agency, man, just as big and crazy and interesting as the UFC, and some huge names out there just at wide receiver. Listen to this: I
Mm-hmm.
told you that this would be a class, these guys would be free agents. And it would take, I don't even know, 2 or 3 weeks into free agency
Huh.
before these guys got signed. Some guys even more. Galladay, Juju, Curtis Samuel, Will Fuller, T.Y. Hilton.
Oof.
Guys like that were free agents. That's
Wow.
crazy. Guys like that in the beginning of the year, you say those guys are free agents, everyone
They're getting scooped up.
flocks. Everyone flocks to grab those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Unbelievable to me. Let's just start like this. The Patriots, what
Yeah.
they did in free agency. Patriots got Jonnu Smith, tight
Mm-hmm.
end. They got Hunter Henry, tight end. You
Tight
know how
end.
the Patriots do when they got double tight ends.
Oh yeah.
Matthew Judon, putting him on the outside, getting him from the Ravens. Goodness
Mm-hmm.
gracious.
I like
Jalen
that.
Mills, not big on that one. The corner
No.
from Philly. I didn't think he was good in Philly, not because I'm a Philly, I don't want to say hater. I'm not. But Philly, I'll just go with that. Guy. Jalen Mills, not impressed. Not impressed at all. And I think I'm not. Did they make any other moves? They re-signed Cam Newton.
Yep.
I'm
That was
trying
the
to
other
think
one
of.
I was going to say was the re-signing of Cam Newton. I'm trying to
Yeah,
think of anything else that they
it may come
probably
up.
going
But
to.
let's even.
I was going to say
Yeah.
probably going to sign the water boy out of off a D3 lacrosse squad and turn him into a slot receiver. But
Yeah.
besides
I've been
that,
seeing people put that the Patriots about to sign Bobby Boucher next because they're just picking everybody up, man. But I love it, man. You got to make a move. You're going to do it, and you got the money.
yep.
This is the year to do it. You know what I'm saying? Go in. The cap is as low as it's going to be. And the Patriots got money. Other teams can't go for guys. Go for them. I think the biggest two signings though are they also got Nelson Aguilar, wide receiver
Ah,
from Oakland Raiders,
coming
and
off
they
a really
also
good
got
season.
yes, and they also got Kendrick Bourne from San Francisco 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
So they signed those guys as well. Interesting what they'll do with Edelman. Is he going to come back to them? I don't know. Maybe they release him late. Gentleman goes to join Tom Brady and they win again. I think Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry were the two biggest signs because I think Cam Newton really needs two tight ends like that. He was always great with Greg Olsen in Carolina, and now he's got two monster beasts of guys who can catch the ball and run with the ball, red zone targets.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is a huge pickup. What do you think of what the Patriots did in free agency?
I liked it. I think what you're saying about the tight end is spot on. I think if Cam is their guy and they're giving him another shot and a legitimate shot, this time around where they're like, all right, we believe in you. This is what we're going to do. Make sure you're healthy. Make sure you're doing the things you got to do. I think that if he has two tight ends, because we've seen Cam Newton this past season struggle to throw down the field, right? And that was people's biggest criticism this season of him was he can't throw the ball down the field.
Yes.
He can't throw it with pace. And I think having two solid tight ends really helps. You takes a lot of the pressure of having to throw the ball downfield.
Yes.
These big guys can find, holes in the defense, create big targets for him to hit, and just take the pressure off him to make a big, crazy hero play down the field, and show off an arm that maybe will be there this season, maybe not, might not, but I like the moves by the Patriots to instill confidence in your quarterback. That listen, if this is what you need, we'll go out and do it for you. To where we'll try to put you in a position to be successful, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. We still have two really solid guys. So I like the move. I think that if Cam Newton's your guy, then that's a really important move for you to make as a franchise.
Which also brings me to that point, which I was just going to ask you. Do you think the Patriots make another move, or do they stick with Cam? His deal is a nice deal, but there's incentives. They could still release him and not lose. I don't know if they lose any money. They may just lose some. Mm-hmm. But I think they build this team based on Cam Newton. Yeah. Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne, two guys who are deep threats. Mm-hmm. I don't quite understand those guys. You don't really see Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne going across the middle or running drag routes or running, comebacks, mm-hmm. Sideline, making sideline catches. They're going down the field, man, middle of the field, going for that ball. I don't quite understand that. I think they got those guys because I think the Patriots think they can get receivers and they'll play at another level for them, mm-hmm. and that could be. But I think they built the team of getting Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry built around Cam Newton. Now, do you think they stick with Cam or they bring somebody else in?
I think they definitely start with Cam. That's what I think. Unless they can somehow get somebody in mind-blowing, in free agency, which I don't put it past the Patriots. But if you're re-signing Cam to that deal, I think that you at least go into this season thinking, all right, Cam's our guy. We'll see how it goes. If you start seeing them signing, somebody as a backup or drafting a quarterback, I think that the idea is a safety plan. If he mm-hmm. doesn't turn out this season, you give him a chance. You gave him one season to figure it out because he wasn't all bad last season. He started off great, and then just I feel like the confidence got taken out of him. I think he's a really, really solid player that if you instill confidence in that sort of player. Like, it's the same thing in basketball. I've said this about plenty of guys in basketball where if you feel like your organization is behind you and you feel like the fans are behind you and you're confident, you play at a completely different level. It's a whole mentality that I think they're going to come into this season trying to instill that in him. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I think that they start with him. Whether he sticks with him all depends on how he plays. So.
Yeah, I think they do. I think they stick with him. I think he does well. I think his second year there gets a decent training camp, however that's going to look this year. Mm-hmm. And they move forward with Cam Newton. They're going to get players back on defense. They're going to look way more better on defense. Way more better, if that's even a word.
Just way better.
Way better on defense. And I think the Patriots go back to their old ways of winning. Right. Galladay, Juju, Samuel, Fuller, Hilton. Now you got those guys. I'm going to talk about those guys in a minute as well. There's some QBs, though, man, that changed teams. I said this not a little while ago on the podcast. In the beginning of 2020, I said, man, the NFL is going to look real different next year. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it's going to look like, but there's going to be guys on different teams. And, man, the 2021 show that. Andy Dalton with the Bears. Jacoby Brissett with Miami. Fitzmagic with Washington. Cam with the Patriots again. Tyrod Taylor with the Texans. What does that mean for Watson? Breeze retiring. And now you got Winston basically over there. They re-signed Hill as well, but it looks like Winston will be the starter. Jared Goff in Detroit. Carson Wentz with the Colts. Stafford, who was traded for Goff, with the Rams. Unbelievable, man.
Oh, yeah.
There's just so many changes at the most crucial position in the NFL. Man, do you think this is a trend we see more of, or is this just a kind of weird year and they're going to roll with these quarterbacks? These teams had some vacancies for a while where they was a little shaky anyway, in Chicago, in Washington, in Detroit, and Colts showed that they can pick up a guy and then play him in Phillip Rivers and then he retires and they plug someone else in. Do you think this how the NFL stays, or do you think it's just a freak year?
I think that this is how the NFL is going to be for a little bit, at least. I think that, again, drawing comparisons with basketball, I think that a lot of teams are showing that, or a lot of players are showing that you have so much power in in what you want to do with your career, and Tom Brady going, to Tampa Bay and winning. Teams all last season were making moves. We said this last 2020, it looks like NBA free agency the way players are moving around. And then 2021 hit us with an even bigger surprise of, now it's all sorts of quarterbacks going places. And I think that this is not something, as long as there's a big name free agents, it's not something that's going to go away in terms of free agency. And then in terms of trades, I think that teams are more and more willing to listen to what either the coaching staff or the players want in terms of trades. I hope that continues to be the thing, because it's really exciting for the fans. I think that, it stinks if your favorite player plays on your favorite team and he gets traded away for whatever reason. But I think that for a fan of football who's more than just a fan of, a particular team, you just like to enjoy the sport as a whole, I think that this is exciting. It brings another element to the NFL that wasn't always there. You'd see guys waste away their entire career in one place for the sake of who knows what, And I think that now different teams trying out different quarterbacks, maybe it doesn't work, maybe this system fits better. I think different teams will see success, just like teams saw success this season with doing that. So I think the more it works, the more it'll happen. Does that make sense?
Yes, I agree. And I think it was the obvious one is Tom Brady in Tampa, right? Mm-hmm. He goes over and he wins the Super Bowl. They bring in a new quarterback first year and they go there. Tom Brady is like, the needle in the haystack. But look what Indianapolis did with getting Phillip Rivers and making the run they did and going to the playoffs like they did and having success like they did. I think that shows other teams as well. I'm trying to think if there's any other guys who kind of stepped in there year one, after, someone else has had that spot for a while. I feel like, no, those are the two guys who kind of made it like, whoa, okay, we could do this, teams could do this. And I kind of think that's I really like what Washington did with getting Brian Fitzpatrick. They also signed, you're going to add into the wide receivers, Curtis Samuel. They got Curtis Samuel, who's a free agent from Carolina, now teamed up with his Ohio State teammate. Shout out to my boy Kenny. Kenny Black's an Ohio State alum, man. Terry McLaurin and Curtis Samuel now in Washington with Fitzmagic there, man. I like what they're going to do. I really, really like that combination, but I like Washington going with a veteran until they can figure out really what they want to do.
Yeah.
And maybe draft somebody and keep them, there for a year under Fitzmagic. He could do things like that. I also really like Stafford with the Rams, man.
Yeah.
I don't think Detroit levels up at all with getting Goff. I think they either do the same thing they did with Stafford or worse.
Yeah.
But they don't level up with Goff, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Goff will have a 500 year. Detroit will have a 500 year. And, we'll see what happens after that. But the Rams level up with getting Stafford. The Rams have got a guy who's got an arm, who's got talent. I just think wasn't in the right space to be successful. Let me just tell you about Matthew Stafford. People never... This is my one thing. My whole beef with the Dak was... Let me get on my Dak horse for a second. And...
Beef with the Dak.
Oh, right. We're paying this guy all this money. What do he really do? Okay. Matthew Stafford, 74-90 is his career record. 74-90.
Wow.
282 touchdowns, 144 picks. My man doesn't even got a winning record. Now, do I believe it was the situation? Yes, I just said that. So I think when he gets to the Rams, you're going to see a jump in the level of the play of the Rams. And with Sean McVay there, they just added Deshaun Jackson.
Whoa.
Deshaun Jackson is there now with the Rams, reuniting with McVay. They were in Washington together. McVay was his offensive coordinator, offensive specialist, whatever you want to call him, when he was there at that time. And he's an LA guy. He's a California guy, Jackson. So, woof. Now you got Bobby Woods.
Whoa.
You got Cooper Kupp. And you got the Deshaun Jackson sprinkled in there. You got the man Higbee at tight end. You got the beast of a run out of Florida State last year, Cam Akers, who's there now. You got a pretty decent offensive line, and you got one of the top defenses in the league. The Rams are trouble. Seattle needs to figure it out. The Arizona Cardinals kind of did figure it out. You know, the Arizona Cardinals know what's up, man. Those teams that they're going to be challenging the Rams in that division for, and they leveled up. Is there any guy of those teams that got new quarterbacks that you feel like leveled up besides, obviously the Rams? I think you agree with that, and I say Washington. Bears getting Dalton, Miami getting Brissett. Who knows what he does? Goff in Detroit. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else really there. I don't think so. Do you think any of those guys level up those teams?
I think that you nailed it with the one that does. I think Matthew Stafford elevates that Rams team to a whole new level with just his ability to make plays and just absolutely sling the ball all game.
Oh yeah.
And it opens up a lot of opportunities for, like you said, Cam Akers and all the running backs they have over there, that now you have a athletic threat. Like Matthew Stafford is sneakily athletic too. He'll make plays happen out of nothing, where I don't think that's something Jared Goff was ever able to do, where if he gets in trouble, he's either throwing it away or he's going down. It was tough for him to make plays when there wasn't anything there. In terms of anywhere else, I think Washington is a good spot for Fitzpatrick. He could sling the ball. Like you said, he's a veteran. He's clutch. He's super clutch. And that defense is terrifying,
Eesh.
So to pair
right.
a high-powered offense with that defense over there is, it's going to be scary for other NFC East teams if they figure it out. But in terms of anywhere else, I think I'm just going to have to see how it goes. Carson Wentz in Indianapolis, I don't know how that's going to look. I feel like the way Phillip Rivers had success over there is completely different as to how Carson. I don't think Carson Wentz is going to come in and play like Phillip Rivers. I don't think they're just going to try and plug him in and tell him, all right, go be just like Phillip Rivers was last season. I think he's going to have his own. They're going to have to figure it out with his abilities, and it's going to be interesting to see him not having to run backwards 40 yards before throwing the ball, but. We'll see.
I think he could be successful if he showed in Philly that if he doesn't have to run 30 yards backwards to finally turn around, to do the Madden, when you're hiking in Madden, you drop back 70 yards, then you throw it. If he don't got to do that, he's shown that he could be successful.
Right, and I think it's a big proving opportunity for him to prove that, you lead the Eagles team to a playoff where you don't even get to play in the Super Bowl. Everyone's hailing the other guy, and then you lose your spot to a rookie. It's tough. As much hate as he gets, and as much love as he used to get from Eagles fans, it's a good opportunity for him as an individual to prove to himself maybe, or prove to whoever that he's in a better situation with a on paper much better team. So we'll see how it goes. But I think you nailed it. I think the Rams and Matthew Stafford is the true level up.
Yeah, I like to hear Rich's opinion on some of these ones, and I don't think Andy Dalton, man, really does much in Chicago, changes much.
Yeah.
I don't know if Jacoby Brissett's going to do. I do like him backing up Tua, but and I think he gets opportunities. I don't know if Miami is sold on Tua. Be interested to see what happens as the weeks go on. But then you got this guy who I want to ask you about. And I want to see what you think. Juju comes back to Pittsburgh. They re-sign him. He had offers supposedly with Baltimore for some more money, with Kansas City with some more money. Opportunity to play with one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. Going to make a run with the Chiefs. If you go there, definitely. Sammy Watkins isn't there. You and Tyreek Hill, and Kelsey, you're going to get open. Like Juju would have been open like 90% of the game if he goes to the Chiefs. You know what I'm saying? It's just like from me, I take a 1-year deal to go play there for whatever money they want to give me, because I know that I'm gonna go there on a year deal, and I'm gonna get 100+ catches. I'm gonna get 5-6 touchdowns, and I'm gonna make a playoff run and maybe win a Super Bowl. That's why I'm going there. And then once the market opens back up, then I'm getting paid. So I take a 1-year deal, I go to KC, and I ball out. No, this guy goes back to Pittsburgh. And you say, as a Pittsburgh fan, what?
I'm excited. I like Juju Smith-Schuster. I think that all the antics, and the TikToks and, the being a kid is just, it doesn't translate to how he plays on the field. If you watch Steelers games and you don't have social media, you don't know what he does outside the game, this guy is tough. He'll run through somebody. He'll get those third and 5 first downs for you. He'll block. He'll do it all. And, he might have gotten caught up in the hype this year about how good the Steelers started off, and he hasn't been himself in a season or two in terms of his big breakout year when that he had with Antonio Brown. But I think that one thing people are underestimating is how much Juju really loves Pittsburgh as a city, as an organization. This dude is out in the streets literally every day. You'll be seeing Juju Smith-Schuster in Pittsburgh is like seeing the mailman. You see this dude everywhere. You see him at Chipotle. You see him at the bar. You see him walking down the street. He just is out in the city. He drives past my house every day in his Tesla. He's just out, and he really likes, I mean, not to speak for him, but just the way he acts is he loves the city. He loves the people, and he truly embodies what the city's all about on the field. When he plays those hard nose downs where he fights for the extra yard. He's always fighting in the game, and it might be different for other Steelers fans, but for me, I really like Juju Smith-Schuster, and I think that he has a lot to offer to the team. And I don't think he's a WR1. I don't think he's the guy that is gonna kill everybody, with his speed or whatever, or his physicality. But he's gonna do all the things that make a winning team. And I love to have him back. So I think if you pair him with the other talented receivers we have, I think receivers are not our issue whatsoever. We have an abundance of talent at the receiver position. We have tons of other issues with, offensive line, with a solid run game, a solid game plan. I think that's the main issue. More than anything is having a solid game plan. We go in there not sure whether we want to be a throw first team, whether we want to, pound the rock. We don't know what we want to do. And it's silly every time, not to go on a tangent about the Steelers, but to answer your question, I'm okay. I'm relatively happy with having Juju Smith-Schuster back.
I like it. Then Kenny Golladay goes to the Giants. We'll get to that in a minute. Will Fuller did Will Fuller go somewhere?
I actually didn't see any Will Fuller news yet.
Not yet. I thought he went
He
somewhere.
might have.
We could check that out.
T.Y.
Hilton. T.Y. Hilton is still available. A.J. Green goes to the Cardinals, matches up with DeAndre Hopkins. Oh my gosh, we talked about Curtis Samuel and Terry McLaurin, the Ohio State connection. Corey Davis with the Jets. Fuller with the Dolphins.
Fuller with the Dolphins on a 1-year deal.
Yes.
Yeah, I was.
Yes.
Just came
and Emmanuel Sanders with the Bills. Just to name some guys out there. And, I look at this Corey Davis, Kenny Golladay move. Mm-hmm. Two guys. I actually like Corey Davis more than Kenny Golladay, and I bet people are going to get at me for that. I just think Kenny Golladay is like a receiver who runs, the one route, and it's kind of deep, and it's across the middle, and he, that's what he does. And I don't know how that matchup with Daniel Jones is going to be. AJ Green, I love him with the Cardinals because he's going to not get the attention drawn to him like he's had in the past. He can kind of get comfortable again at receiver, and with his injuries, he could ease into this process. Hopkins is going to take a ton of the heat for him. It's going to be fine over there, so I like that move. But I don't know which move is sillier, Corey Davis going to the Jets or Kenny Golladay going to the Giants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's silly. I mean, I don't know. I think that they're not moves that are going to win you a Super Bowl. If you're excited, I think Giants getting Kenny Golladay has to be better. I don't know what the Jets. I think the Jets are just preparing for a new quarterback, trying to get him weapons, trying to do whatever they can for whoever they bring in, whoever they end up drafting. But I don't know. It just seems like you go out and you get who you can get, and that's what this feels like to me. You got who you could. You know, it's not maybe not your first guy, not your second guy, but you went out and you made a move so that your fans could be like, all right, we did something. You know,
For the Jets, you're saying?
Yes, for the Jets.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what it felt
I
like
agree.
to me. You know, he caught a couple passes. I think we'll go grab him.
Yeah, that's the thing. Who would you rather have, Corey Davis or Kenny Galladay?
Depending.
It's hard to not go Galladay, but
yeah, depending what you need, I would go Galladay. If I were to have someone on the Steelers, I would want Galladay. But in terms of what you need, Corey Davis could do it all. You know,
yeah,
he's
yeah, that's why I like him. Yeah,
another one of those guys that I was saying, kind of like Juju, where he'll have like a breakout game here and there, but he just does all the little stuff too that you don't even necessarily see on the stat sheet or see during the game, but he'll do it all.
And I agree with you. I don't think him like Juju is a wide receiver one. Corey Davis. I would rather have Corey Davis and Kenny Galladay. Like I said, no, I'm going to get the beef for it, but I know it's hard to pass up Galladay. But I would in that situation because I think if Galladay is with a different team, he's with the Rams. If he's with, like you said, the Steelers, you know, you could throw the ball down the field. If he's with Seattle, if he's with, you know, teams like the Green Bay Packers, with a quarterback who likes to throw the ball down the field,
that would have been a good one. Green Bay Packers.
Numerous times, you know, that's a different look. Yeah, him and Devontae Adams. Oh my gosh, that could be dangerous. Who was next on my list here? Okay, then you got quarterbacks, right? And we all love our quarterbacks, we named before. But look at the quarterbacks in the NFC East, my division. Cowboys with Dak, Fitzmagic with Washington. Now Hurts will probably be the quarterback in Philly if they don't draft someone or if they don't trade for someone.
Yep.
You never know what's going to happen there. And Daniel Jones, the quarterback of the Giants. So my question is this: who is the best team in the NFC East?
Best team in the NFC East to me has to be either the football team or the Cowboys with Dak back. Without Dak, I would say the Giants. Giants are the football team. I just don't see. They all seem very even to me. It feels like a deadlock conference again this year. It feels like I need to see something out of all those teams. But with Dak back, I like the Cowboys the best. He's to me, he's the best, easily the best quarterback in that division. And with the way he, you know, commands the team, I think that he will make the biggest impact out of any new quarterback or, you know, returning quarterback or anything like that. The moves that Washington made paired with their defense, I think will put them right there as well. Yeah. Giants defense is sneaky too. I just think the Eagles need to, you know, make some serious moves before. I like Jalen Hurts. I like him a lot. I think that he has promise, and then who knows if he's going to be the guy. So that's the thing about the Eagles is like I feel like you never even know. They're in love with one guy one day, and then they drop him on the corner the next day. So
yeah.
And they got a new guy they're in love with. So I don't know.
I agree with you. I think it's the Cowboys, the Washington football team. I really like their defense, and I like what they could do with Fitzmagic. I think they could score a lot of points, and their defense could back them up with, you know, holding teams, kind of like the Brooklyn Nets. You know, you score. We're just going to score like crazy or try to score like crazy on you. We don't need to play. The Nets don't play that great of a defense, but could you imagine if they did? That's what Washington's going to do. We could score a million points and take chances, and we got the defense to back it up. Yeah. You know, we're not just out here scoring like crazy and taking chances without any repercussions. That defense is going to hold it down. So that's going to be a dangerous matchup. I like what the Giants did, getting Kyle Rudolph, getting Kenny Galladay. It's Saquon Barkley going to be okay to get back. You know, Sterling Shepard is there as well. The offensive line, you know, is always suspect there over there. Got a new, not a second-year head coach, who I think is doing great things over there too. But I would go boys or the Washington football team as well in that division. Also Kenyon Drake goes to the Raiders as a running back. Jamal Williams to the Lions. So there's a couple free agents in there. And the last thing I want to finish off with before we go to basketball is, what'd you think of the trade for Deshaun Watson, the offer that the Bears gave? 3 first-rounders, a third, and a starter. 3 first-rounders, a third-rounder, and I think 1 or 2 starters, whatever that means. Whatever that is.
Yeah, I mean, that's to me, it's nuts. It's a joke to me where you give 3 first rounders. You know, you're pretty much what you're pretty much doing is dumping your entire, you know, hope into Deshaun Watson coming there, leading you to whatever with who, you know, with what help does he have? If you're giving, what starters are you giving away? Is it? I hope it's not Allen Robinson, because I mean, what starters are you giving away to get this guy? I don't know. So 3 first round picks.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was to get Russell Wilson, not Deshaun Watson.
Right. I got no.
Bears,
Yes, is to get Russell Wilson. Yeah. Yeah. I don't. I mean, if I'm
is there anything Seattle, if you're Seattle, is there anything another team could offer you where you're like, okay, we'll trade Russell Wilson? Like what do they got to give you?
To me, it would have to be a situation like what happened with Matthew Stafford, where they offer you a pretty good quarterback in return. You know, a solid quarterback who is proven. That you're like, okay, maybe we can work with this guy. And then some talent on top of it where you're like, oh, some solid names where you're like, all right. And then maybe a few picks as well where you're like, okay. Kind of like I'm going to compare it to the James Harden deal where you get guys where you're like, okay, maybe we have a chance this season to do something with these guys scrapped together, but we also have picks in case we stink, you know, where it's like you get solid guys where you're like, all right, you tell your fans, listen, yes, we gave up this, but we got this in return. We could put together, you know, a season or two, and if not, we got 1 million picks now. That's the only thing I think I'm biting on. But you can't give away a talent like Russell Wilson, no matter what you throw at me. I'm just saying, if I had to, that's what I would need.
Yeah, I like that. I definitely agree. I think you got to get back a really solid quarterback. You got to get back maybe 1 or 2 starters. You know, guys who maybe veteran guys, middle-aged guys, possibly been playing in the league 4 or 5 years, you know, can make a little bit of impact, and some young guys who you could draft to make a difference. So if you're even thinking about it, but I think it's got to be better than a guy like Goff to me. You know, if you're going to get that guy back, it's got to be like a number 1 or a number 2 overall pick, you know, that you're getting back as well. Because I don't think there's anything you give up for Russell Wilson. And I think Seattle needs to continue to make moves and give him what he wants, like we've talked about before, and keep that man. I'll tell you right now.
Absolutely.
And now let's jump into basketball, man. Let's see what you got.
Oh, well,
what are we talking about? I'm watching Alabama and Maryland in the background right now.
I would recommend throwing on USC Kansas, because that Alabama Maryland game is that thing is over.
It's getting out of hand.
But I mean, going through this whole episode, there's always tons to talk about. But it's like right now we're in the middle of March Madness, baby, and this year is madness.
Oh yeah,
with a capital madness. You know, like let's talk upsets so far. Let's just talk everything that's going on in the first round of 64, and then so far what's happened in, you know, the round of 32. Number 15 Oral Roberts knocks off number 2 Ohio State. I'm just going to run through them real quick, and then, you know, we can get into individuals. Number 14 Abilene Christian knocks off number 3 Kansas. Number 13 Ohio knocks off number 4 Virginia. Number 13 North Texas knocks off Purdue, number 4. The 12 seed Oregon State, red hot, knocks off number 5 Tennessee. The 11 seed UCLA knocks off BYU at the 6 seed. The number 11 Syracuse Orange upset San Diego State.
Buddy Buckets.
Buddy Boeheim, Buddy Buckets. And they got Gerard, who was the all-time leading scorer in New York State high school basketball history. Number 10 Maryland over UConn. Number 10 Rutgers over 7 Clemson, and then the number 9 Wisconsin over number 8 UNC. Those last few, you know, upsets technically, but those are pretty all even match teams. But just insane. What have you taken from this so far in this year of March Madness?
I mean, I've been watching the tournament for years now. All the way back in high school. I'm an old man. I'm a senior in this Respect the Chat crew. And being the oldest guy, man. I mean, I remember when the Big East was the Big East, and you played the Big East tournament in the Garden, and it was like almost better than the tournament itself. At least for me and the Big East fans, it was crazy. I remember the ACC game. Championship games and tournament being absolutely on fire leading into the tournament, into the March Madness. And you're like, man, this is crazy. ACC's got like 12, 13 teams getting in. Big East got like 10 teams getting in. Like, in those mid majors and those lower no name colleges, it's like, okay, they're going to sprinkle in and maybe slightly, possibly they have a chance. But this year, man, this year, like you said, guys are making choices to go to schools and play where fits them. There's teams like Alabama who leveled up, man. Listen, Alabama, for people who just started watching basketball recently or watch it here and there, Alabama was not that team that you see playing right now, in the past. Gonzaga, obviously, they just kept leveling up year after year after year. We don't even gotta discuss them. But I'm like trying to think of like Ohio, man. They're dangerous. Creighton, they get in the tournament, you're like, oh, okay, cool. They got Doug McDermott, maybe they win 1 or 2 games, They're dangerous, bro. That team is dangerous.
Oh yeah.
Loyola Chicago, okay, maybe they get in. They would shock somebody if they want. Man, they are on fire, bro. These teams are playing real basketball. Illinois, man. Last time they were number 1 was like when my man D Brown and Deron Williams was there. Williams, whatever you want to call him, was over there, man. Oh, are you crazy? That was years ago, bro. That was years ago. And I just love the way the tournament is. I love these teams that are in it this year making a push in the run, because you know what? Everybody's bracket is blown up. Yeah. And now you can just enjoy the tournament for what it is instead of rooting against guys to lose. And, I hope this guy loses now. I hope that guy, now you just enjoy basketball for what it is. And you get to enjoy these talented young men who are levels above, other guys. You could see why these guys go to college and play at this level. As well as I do, played with some good basketball players, guys who went to maybe D2 or D3. These guys are on another level, bro. And just the names that have coming up and what the NBA is going to have in these guys, it's very exciting for a guy like me.
Oh yeah, insane. Let me run you through. I'm going to run you through the teams the upsets that happened in the round of 64, right, that we just discussed. The upsets that happened in the round of 32, those teams who just moved on so far, and what their team, stuff you might not hear on SportsCenter until they upset a team. Okay. You know how when you're coming into a tournament, it's all about Cade Cunningham, the other big names who are going to perhaps get drafted, or teams that they think are going to win it all. You don't hear these little statistics and things about these mid-major teams that make them dangerous to everybody else. Right. So I'm going to run you through the teams that have already upset teams and are moving on to the Sweet 16 and what makes them so special. I'm going to start with Oral Roberts, the 15 seed Cinderella story out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Oral Roberts has the nation's leading scorer, Max Asmus, number 3, their point guard. He leads Division I in scoring. He averages the most points in the nation. Yeah. And as a team, not as individual person, as a team, they're the best free throw shooting team in college basketball history. Them and Colorado, who also is in the tournament this year, are neck and neck, 1 and 2 in the nation, and also 1 and 2 of all time if they end the season the way it's been going, shooting 83.4%.
That's crazy.
Absolutely insane.
Never heard of this.
Absolutely insane. For a team like Oral Roberts, where they upset number 2 Ohio State, they come in and they upset number 7 Florida, who was giving them a hard time. They come all the way back and beat them. And it's like, who are these guys? But when you break down, you look at the team, it makes sense. You know, these guys can play basketball. And to move on from there, just to breeze through these real quickly, Loyola Chicago, they get the 8 seed. A lot of people are saying, they're They got Sister Jean. They're
Sister Jean.
In 2018, Loyola Chicago was, I believe, a 12 seed, and they were upsetting everybody, made it all the way to the Final Four. All the statistics and analytics show this Loyola Chicago team this year is much better than the team that made the Final Four in terms of their shooting percentages, the way they play, the way they, blow teams out. Number 25, Cam Krutwig is his name, plays just like Nikola Jokic. He averages upwards of 20, 12, and 8 assists, somewhere around there. He's just absolutely insane. He does everything for his team. Big, goofy-looking guy. You would never take him seriously until he put up 30 and 19 on you. Oregon.
Man, if I know these stats about those two teams, maybe I pick differently. If I know a guy's got leading score and the dudes can't miss free throws, okay, maybe I go Oral Roberts. If I know I got Jokic in there, I say, hold on a second, man. This is what these guys make tournaments. These guys make runs. These guys shine in these moments. But you don't hear these things like you said. So I like these gems we're getting right now.
Oh yeah, and that's what me and my roommates were saying before. When we're watching, they're dropping these stats on us while they're playing. We're like, yo. No one could have came out and said this before the tournament. No one could have came out and been like, yo, by the way, Oral Roberts got the nation's leading scorer and they're the best free throw shooting team in history. No one thought to drop any of that knowledge on me, so I'm going to drop it on y'all so you guys know.
Appreciate it.
Oregon, who just upset number 2 Iowa, their entire starting 5 averages more than 10 points. Their entire starting 5 averages over 10 points, averages double digits, with certain players averaging 17 to 20. They just played and they got red hot and were just ready to go. Jumped all over Iowa. And then the last one that I have is Oregon State is just on fire. The last team picked preseason to finish last in the Pac-12. Ran through the Pac-12 tournament. Ran through number 5 Tennessee, ran through number 4 Oklahoma State and Cade Cunningham, and they just can't seem to miss. They can't seem to cool off ever. And this is one thing I want to say is, like, when you are making a bracket and when you're putting together teams and are getting excited for March Madness, you need to watch these conference tournaments, I'm telling you, because you will learn a lot about throw everything out from the rest of the season. Just throw it out. Whoever is playing hot in those conference tournaments and is going to carry over that momentum, that's where you'll figure it out. The eye test means so much when you're picking these teams, and this just goes to show you this is the best thing ever. March Madness is the best thing ever. I'm so glad that it's back and will continue to be the way that it is, hopefully, with all these Cinderella story teams making runs and just putting everyone on notice that there's real hoopers out there at every level.
Oh, bro. This is great.
Conference.
This is great. If you're not tuned in, you're crazy. And even this weekend, I got to catch the NC2A National Wrestling Championships as well. Penn State is just so dominant. Iowa won the overall team championship. But I mean, just if you got a chance, tune into that, please. My boy Mabel and I, man, we go back and forth over text talking about it. It's so good. It's such at a high level. ESPN shows it now. Just try it. It's right around the same time the tournament's on. I know taking a break from the tournament's hard, but I do it, and sometimes I record it. This time I watched it live. It's unbelievable. But just wanted to add that in as well. But this is the greatest time, man. Go ahead.
I was gonna say one thing to clear up. Me and my roommates were arguing with me about this. Have you heard the term before for championship wrestling, NCAA wrestling, March Madness?
I have not.
You've not heard that before?
No, I love it though.
It's like March Madness, but like the wrestling March Madness.
Yeah, it makes total sense. Total sense.
I've tuned into one wrestling match and the announcer said it, and I was like, oh, that makes a ton of sense. That should be what it's called, and I've seen it on Twitter. I've seen it everywhere that people call it that. That it's not like something I came up with off the top of my head. And I said that, good. And they were looking at me like I was crazy. They're like, "Oh, boo, boo!" Like I was trying to make a joke, and I was like, "What do you mean? That's what it's called. That's what people call it." So
That's good stuff right there,
March
man.
Madness, that's like the hockey playoffs. It's the not the Final Four, but the Frozen Four.
The Frozen Four,
Come on,
absolutely
dog.
awesome, absolutely
I'm not
awesome,
making
man.
these
And
things up.
this dude Spencer Lee, man. I know I said it in the chat. The
Mm-hmm.
wrestler, 3-time I believe now national champion, at Iowa, at 125 pounds. This guy wrestled most of the tournament with 2 torn ACLs. Definitely one, but I'm pretty sure 2, and that's insane. Like, to do things like that is unbelievable. You got competitors like that, absolutely crazy. So March Madness or March Madness, either way, March is phenomenal.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, oh, sorry. No, I was just
It's
gonna
okay.
knock on the door. But
Nice.
yeah. Oh, I'm really excited to continue to watch these games throughout the next few weeks and just see what kind of talent levels these guys bring. Like an Oral Roberts team is gonna, you know, be facing better and better competition every week that they win. And I'm interested to see these teams stay red hot, like Oregon State, and
Yeah.
just see how far momentum can bring you. And that's what I wanted to say. One last thing is that when you are watching football, right? Let's say you're a college football fan. How mad does March Madness make you that you get the same four
Close the door is
state?
what I'm saying, babe. They can hear you. The fans could hear my washer and dryer going. I'm trying to listen to Ryan's questions. Please, babe, please.
we, we both got a bunch of interruptions out here. I
Oh
think
my gosh, this is the
it's
podcast. I
the
know we run a
interruption
little bit
episode.
over an hour, and our wives and our girlfriends start to get at us a little bit here.
Mm-hmm.
But work with us, fans, and if we got a little interruption, that's what's going on in the background. We're dealing with laundry. We're dealing with people pouring water on my end over here in their cup. It's loudest that thing ever, but it's okay. We like the interruptions. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm just saying, if you're a college football fan, how mad
Yeah.
does March Madness make you? Where get to see the same 4 teams every year compete for a national championship with a 1 or 2 maybe flip flopped out of 5 and 6 into the 3 and 4 slot, but just even expanding, like, not to get into a long spiel about it, but just seeing the field of 64 and just seeing what talent could do and how much of it is out there, and just how intense and awesome a one-off game is for fans. Like, what is the deal? Like, how mad are you if you're a college football fan that you have to deal with this every year, and you get to watch basketball fans have it all and just be blessed with March Madness every year?
Dude, there's no competition. The tournament blows everything out of the water. College football could do whatever they want, and it still won't match the bracket. It won't match the madness. It won't match the upsets. It won't match just like the game amount of games you got. I know. I agree, and a couple of my boys do as well, with just the way the format is this year, with games being played the way they do in consecutive days. I get it because of COVID. I believe that's why they're kind of in like a bubble in these cities a little bit. So they got to get guys in and out and do what they do. But, it's usually there's a little bit of a break, and you could see most of the games once it gets into the nitty gritty, which it is now, So I think that's the one. But there's nothing better, man. There's nothing better than it. It's the greatest, tournament in history.
Yeah.
It's the greatest, one of the greatest times of the year. The players that come out of it are names that you remember forever. It's truly, you couldn't have it in other sports, right?
Yeah.
You couldn't have like a tournament and then say, okay, that's the championship team, because you just can't. But in college basketball, because there's so many teams, it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And it just is like a rush of adrenaline, one game elimination. I love it, man. You said ask the guys last week what their favorite place to watch it is. Ideal situation, and I agreed with you guys. I think the bar was always a great time. The casino is great too because of the adrenaline and the energy. But there's nothing like watching it at home with 3 or 4 TVs set up, the homeboys in the building, and you're just eating snacks, a couple brewskis, and having fun. It's nothing better than it.
No, you can't compare.
No, not at all. Not at all. So the tournament is great. I'm pumped for it. I think Gonzaga wins. Man, they looked amazing tonight, but I think Gonzaga wins. I like Gonzaga versus Alabama, to get to that final game. I don't know about the other down below the other side of that bracket because my Final Four is obliviated at this point. I had Ohio State and Oklahoma State. They're out, but neither here nor there. College basketball is on fire.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, my Final Four is all busted up. I had Illinois winning the whole thing. So right now it looks scary. I mean, Gonzaga looks scary. Granted, they haven't – I don't like saying this, but because everyone in this tournament is a really solid team. But being the number one overall seed and getting the pulls that they've gotten, they haven't faced one of these red-hot teams yet. Oklahoma was having struggles with Missouri. That's the toughest competition that they face. Norfolk State was a joke, Shout out to them for making the tournament, but you know what's about to happen when you face a team like Gonzaga. Like what happened to Virginia, that was just, a situation where that team just wanted it and they were hungry and Virginia had weaknesses. I have yet to see a weakness in this Gonzaga team that could be exposed by just anybody. Yeah. It's gonna take a solid group of guys and solid coaching to draw something up for them. But I'm excited to see them play. Who the winner of this USC. They first have to face Creighton. Creighton just advances, and then I don't think they have any trouble with them. But the winner of this USC Kansas game is going to move on to place. And I think USC, I got USC moving on to face Gonzaga eventually, and I think that they will be a pretty tough test for them.
That Creighton Gonzaga game is going to be dangerous just because of what Creighton can do with shooting the outside shot, and they got athletes over there. They got guys. That kid Jefferson's got energy, man.
Yeah.
They got players who fit the tournament type of play. You got to come out there. People will come out and they got the jitters, in the beginning. I know it happens earlier in the tournament, and you really should shake it by the time you play these games. But I feel like every one of these games, there's jitters. Because if you go down a couple buckets, it's like, whoa, wait a second, we could be eliminated. And teams that could calm themselves down, get themselves in the rhythm, come back when they're down a little bit, dominate, play both sides of the ball, get energy, coach having those good rotations coming in. They're a type of team like that. Creighton, it's going to be dangerous going against Gonzaga. I like Gonzaga coming out of it, of that game too. And I like the USC versus Gonzaga later on. And then I like Alabama, though. That's going to be Alabama's an awesome team to watch too. These are teams that I just didn't know I would even be talking about. And I'm happy that I am. Exactly. And this is really exciting, man. I'm happy.
Oh, yeah. It's exciting. So we're blessed, over here with all these sports going on, and everything feels back. It feels like we're getting back to it. I went to a Penguins game
nice.
on Sunday. It was awesome. Got to keep your mask on when you're not eating or drinking, and the stadiums aren't as loud. It's not as intense of a situation, but it's fun. You enjoy it for what it is until we get to be, back to doing more. But it feels like a sense, just a piece of everything falling back together. Sports are back. Everything's back. So
love it, man.
We're in a great situation. So you got anything else? I mean,
No, I think I'm good, and I think we went to the good limit there. I think both of our significant others would like to see us with the computer shut down, but we just got to get an episode in, and Saturday, hopefully we get another one in as well. We love y'all out there. Respect the chat, man. We appreciate you. Tune into UFC 260, Stipe versus Francis 2. Ton more free agency coming for more of us to talk about. The tournament's running. The tournament's going. That's going to be great coming up here talking about as well. But always good to talk with you, brother. We'll catch up. And this episode will be out ASAP or...
Yeah, ASAP. We're recording it right now. It's Monday night. Most likely you'll be listening to it if you are listening right when it drops, probably like Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon, something like that.
Okay, cool. So we appreciate y'all, man, and respect the chat. 113. We out.
Peace.